Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're in the office and we're going to talk about a viewer requested video. I actually had made this video a while back. Unfortunately, the way the summer kind of played out, we had some devastating stuff happen to our family. Been kind of working through that. In the meantime, though, new stuff has came about, and so now we can actually kind of put it all together. Before we get started, make sure you smash the subscribe button, thumbs up, and notification bell. Head over to the channel. Tons of great stuff over there. So the viewer had requested me to kind of look into Nex Gen Drivetrain. Now, this is a company that I believe not only manufactures their own valve bodies, but they have their own transmissions. From what I can see on the website is they do use some type of core process in many of their products. So whether they're modifying those and basically bulletproofing those, I don't know. I read through pages after pages after pages on their website, and you're more than welcome to go over there. One thing I want to stress is I'm not supported or sponsored by Nex Gen Drivetrain. I am always interested in looking out about people's products and things they're trying to produce to help solve problems for consumers. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, a while back, I did put out a video in regards to the implication with the 10-speed Allison. And just so you know, because a lot of people know I have a 2025 Silverado HD, and they say, hey man, good luck with your transmission. The 2025 was on a stop sale for a very short time, and actually once they cleared and figured out that those trucks should have the newest version of whatever they wanted in there, the valve body, the all of the components that go along with that, those trucks were able to be sold. Typically what happened is in late 24, they came out with a recall covering basically the 2020 to 2022s with the 10-speed Allison. Now, they also had a bunch of recalls with the smaller 10-speed that was a joint venture with Ford in its collaboration and design. However, too many confuse the one that's designed with Allison and GM and then the torque shift in Ford. They share very little similarities in the fact that they're both 10-speeds, of course, and they both have some similarities, of course, but they're not made at all in partnership with each other, so we need to keep that in mind. So this issue came out where transmissions had valve bodies that can experience excessive wear and then led to what could be a rear wheel lockup, and that would be dangerous, of course, right? We don't want a rear wheel lockup. And so initially GM's fix is to put in some actual software. They would update the system, and basically the system then monitored the wear of the actual transmission valve body, and if it deemed that it had excessive wear, it would derate the truck and go into semi-limp mode. I think it limited to fifth gear. Well, as we progressed until GM could figure this out, people were kind of worried, right? So there are a lot of great companies out there that make aftermarket parts, and obviously, everybody needs their vehicle, especially if you're making a payment on it. Nobody wants to be out of their vehicle. And so what was happening is the ones that actually had damaged transmissions or valve train, then they had to basically wait for their truck at the dealership to get a new setup for that, whatever the extent of it was, whether it be a whole new transmission or parts and pieces that could be swapped out. And so there was just a big lull in people that would get their vehicles back, and that's frustrating, and it does suck. What was happening, though, is GM was then giving them an extended warranty on any transmission issue that was basically the fault of this recall. And so there we go. Now, a lot of people have said, well, that's almost 500,000 trucks that they recalled. Well, that doesn't mean all of those vehicles are actually having the issue. Those are just ones that could have been produced in that time frame that could eventually have it. So you bring it in and see if it is, or you can go to NHTSA's website and see if yours is specifically covered under that. I can link that down below. But some people need their vehicles back. Some people believe that GM is basically limping you along until you get out of warranty, and then you're stuck with either replacing the transmission or valve body from GM, or you can go the aftermarket route. So as we progress, though, in August, GM has released their newest version of this valve body. Now, some people, especially the aftermarket ones, some of those guys, they take their trade very seriously. They've worked really hard to actually perfect the issues that the manufacturer has made, and they basically said that this is still going to only be a band-aid. It's not necessarily a fix. So I mean, again, it quite possibly is. I'm not a transmission guy. So as we go further into it, there's a lot of forums. There's a lot of people asking me, hey, will GM cover this Nex Gen Drivetrain? Like I said, a lot of companies out there that are producing stuff, and there's a lot of companies that produce really great stuff. And from what I've read from Nex Gen Drivetrain and read the reviews, other than some people having concerns with certain whatever, it sounds like they had good feedback from the manufacturer of that part. They had good follow through from the company. And it sounded like they were willing to work with it, and it sounds like they give you a lifetime warranty on almost everything I could see on their website. It has a no excuse type limited warranty. Of course, I'd encourage you to go over there and see what specific product you might need, and then see if it does have that warranty. But the products I was mainly looking at looks like they have lifetime warranties. So people that are suffering from this wheel lockup or this transmission issue, typically if you're just a bone stock kind of guy and you're just doing your towing and you're driving, that this issue may never come up. Highly potentially it won't come up. And if they had 500,000 trucks on the recall, they make millions a year. So it's high, but again, that's just the number of the potential recall. It's not even the amount of the vehicles actually affected. So you have to look into the fact of, okay, your vehicle went down and now it's at the GM dealership. And now that the valve bodies came out in August, they call it their Nex Gen, not to be confused with Next with a T Gen, or their Gen 3 valve body. And supposedly this is the fix for it. I haven't had any problems with mine, but then again, I'm fairly low miles. Now, if you're a person that lift kits your truck, tows all the time, bigger tires, bigger wheels, you are always putting more stress on your transmission and your drivetrain than a stock version. Engineers, whether you like it or not, built that vehicle to work exactly how it's set with very little modifications. And even though the vehicle can handle it, more than likely you're going to produce excess wear. So I reached out to 3 of my different dealer friends in their service departments. And although this is a widespread nationwide recall on this transmission, they had hardly anything to say about it. They basically said they had some of the smaller 10 speeds that they worked on. They've dealt with some of the actual 6.2 engine issues. But when it came down to the HD trucks, they hadn't seen but maybe a couple, and some of the dealers saw none. So I talked with each one of them, asking the next big question that comes up when it's talking about the Nex Gen Drivetrain company's valve body or repair kits and everything like that. Consumers can always bring their own products, and as long as the dealer says, yeah, we'll install them, we're not going to warranty them, but if you get a warranty outside from that actual manufacturer, they'll charge you to put them on. However, he, along with 2 other service departments, said that they had not heard anything from GM about GM saying, well, we can't get the valve body or the transmission, so we're willing to pay this outside company to pay for this part. So that kind of leaves you on the waiting game, right? So I guess time is money usually. So if you're the person that's in a position where they can't get you up and going and you're under warranty and you felt compelled to reach out to this company, they seem like a very legitimate company. Reach out to them, tell them what your experience is. This guy is probably like a Picasso of transmission, I guess, if you will. He has a lot of pride in it, from what I gather from looking at forums and people that have really enjoyed the success of doing these upgrades with his specific product. So I'd reach out to him and say what you can do, but that more than likely is going to be something out of pocket. So when you look at all the good reviews and you look at all the forums saying that people have had all this stuff, it really then comes down to what your budget and time is going to allow. Now that the GM versions are coming out and they're going to give you an extended piece of the warranty on that, I think you can feel safe in regards to if this issue does then happen again, as long as it happens in warranty, then go ahead. If you feel like you need something more bulletproof because you got to keep this vehicle always on the road and you don't have time to wait, say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be from GM to get their part in and get fixed, and you felt compelled, they sell kits that are like $1,500. It's like an upgrade kit. They sell whole valve bodies. They sell whole transmissions, right? So, they may have this product ready to rock and roll and you can get it sent to it. Now with those cores, just like a core on a battery, whatever their core charge is, which one it looked like $2,000, you have to be really cognizant to follow their rules. If you're going to send your core back, they have rules about sending it back and what to do with that. So then you can get your core charge back. But they also have a timeline in getting that to them. You would expect them to ship it quick, and it looks like from feedback that they do ship their product reasonably quick to get that core back to them. Otherwise, I'm not sure what would happen with your core, but typically if you don't return a core, you don't get your money back. So it can make those repairs even more expensive. Now, it is nice that they're willing to back their product for lifetime. I'm assuming it's for the lifetime you own it. So I would actually break it down as to this, guys, because I've had several people ask me if I was going to do a next gen upgrade on my 25. Well, the way I look at it is this. Although that product is highly appealing to me, my 25 was not covered in that recall. I'm not concerned necessarily right now about it because it's under warranty. One thing that the person at Nex Gen Drivetrain did stress is if GM is trying to limp you to the end of your warranty and you get caught behind the 8 ball and this happens and it really damages your transmission, obviously you could be looking at a way more expensive repair bill, right? Because unless you have the ability to drop a transmission and drop a drivetrain or do all of this work with the transmission, I mean, this guy is a pro, it sounds like. So he's got the capabilities and the know-how and all that. Most people in their garage are not set up to drop a transmission or a valve body and do this kind of work themselves. I'm just going to be honest with you. Most people are not. Nor do you have time to do it. So if you limp yours all the way to the warranty and you feel like the transmission's been going really well, then I would encourage you to look at companies like this, because if it's been going well and you've experienced no problems and you're going to run out of your warranty and you don't want to buy another GM back warranty that would cover it, you got to think that those are out there too, right? Then I think it makes sense, if you're going to keep the truck long term, is to reach out to a company like this or any other company that you do your due diligence on background. Again, I'm not supported by them, so I'm not going to sit up here and make a commercial for them. However, it seems that they have the hottest product based on forums and information that's out there. That you would reach out to them and see what they would recommend doing, whether it be a transmission fluid test and see how that material looked and see if they see a different problem, because we do have that analysis type stuff out there for it. And it could be cheap insurance. I mean, if this company's willing to back it for the lifetime and you're a person that wants to hold on to your vehicle for a long time, and don't get me wrong, go to their website and check it all out. They make them for Dodge and Ford and Chevy and all this stuff. They're not just a one-hit Allison wonder, right? So if you came here looking at the possibility of Nex Gen Drivetrain, it sounds like and looks like they have many, many products on their site. And it sounds like that even if they don't have a product, it sounds like you probably could reach out to the owner or some of their techs and get a really good answer on where to go. Which is really appealing, to have a company that looks like they're kind of dialed into their consumers, at least answering questions. But of course, it also sounds like they don't pull any punches. If you're a joker and trying to screw them over, it doesn't sound like they're going to play that game, which I can agree with. So when it comes down to the price and everything, I think their prices are plenty reasonable considering a lifetime, no excuse warranty. Because you got to think of that you're going to be paying for that, because you can buy a part that's substantially cheaper with no warranty or 6-month warranty, and then you just SOL. So I look at it like this. If you have a vehicle that's under that recall, go to NHIT's website, check it out and see. If you're experiencing problems and it's low mileage and it's a fairly new year, keeping in mind your 5-year 100,000 is your powertrain. So if you have a 21, you'll be running out soon in 26 or 27, depending on when your vehicle went into service and your miles. And then you also need to look into what the manufacturer covers as to if you're not the first owner of that vehicle. So if you bought a lightly owned, pre-owned 22 or 23, I would definitely call and see if you have any powertrain left. Some manufacturers do. Some manufacturers cut it back depending on the second owner. So that is something you need to think about. So just side of that, if you're going to pay for this part and put it in yourself, cool. If you're under warranty and you have an issue with anything with the transmission, you take it in, they notice that's not their valve train, it could potentially have issues with it, especially if you did it yourself. If you're going to pay GM to install this for you, check with the dealer and see how your warranty is going to continue. Again, if you're over that 100,000 mark, you no longer have manufacturer warranty unless you buy an extended warranty. So you're going to really have to do your due diligence on how you want to go about installing an aftermarket kit like this or transmission like this, because it's probably going to need to be installed by a reputable shop, especially if you just don't have the means and the access to do so. So I would say if you're under 100,000 miles and your truck's been going good and it doesn't fall into this warranty, I would ride it out till 999,999, right? I mean, or sorry, that's a lot. 99,999. So I'd write it out till then, and then potentially, if you're keeping the truck for a long time, reach out to a company like this, discuss, hey, do you think your truck or car needs this? And then let them kind of give you some ideas to it. And then I think it's great insurance, whether you're going to buy a warranty or replace this just as preventive measures. But all these preventive measures that people talk about can be expensive, right? Whether it's 15 or 25 or 3,000 plus whatever labor that goes into it. So do I think Nex Gen Drivetrain is a good product? I don't know personally. But from what I can see on their website, they're very knowledgeable. It sounds like they answer questions if you have them very well. They have a lot of good consumer feedback. There's a lot of forums out there talking about these guys in a good manner, right? There's a few, but I'm not going to get into it. But I would say the vast majority is positive. Next, you have to think about, like I said, your overall long-term forecasting. You keep the truck long enough. Have you had any problems? Is this something that's worth it? Yeah, potentially, because a new transmission is probably $8,000-9,000 for a used one or a rebuilt one from GM. So it definitely may be able to do it. But as a preemptive, I've got 6,000 miles. I'm worried about this lockup. Well, with the software update, you don't necessarily have to worry about that to the point where you're going to be crashed and hurt really bad. You just have to be aware that if it goes down and goes in limp mode, this is probably what you're experiencing. But I think you're going to start seeing issues prior to that, some rough shifting and stuff like that. You'll start seeing that before you actually get to a wheel lockup. So this is where you have to be resilient in paying attention. Don't just hop in and drive. So I would definitely look into just keeping track of everything and making sure that, if you have harsh shifting and you have stuff like that, then it may be something you need to get to the dealer. If you're buying a truck that's high mileage and out of warranty and the transmission seems to be golden and good, I would reach out to a company like this, especially if you have no warranty, because your two most expensive things probably will be your engine and your transmission. So it could be a very good starting point is just to reach out to them. So again, it sounds like we got a reputable company here, guys. Good feedback from consumers. Good to decent feedback or even great feedback on forums from this. A must-have, I don't know. Again, that's up to your budget, your design, your demand. Is GM paying for this? No. No. According to the ones I've talked to, now I'm not saying that every dealer is going to be the same and they're going to do it, but if you have that question, you're going to take it to dealer A, B, or C. Call those dealers A, B, and C and see if it is covered under warranty and will be paid for, or what it's going to cost you not only to get the part, but to put it in. And then don't forget your core charge to send it back to the company that you do business with. So we know that GM is not approving the Next Gen Drivetrain thing, although it is a direct bolt up. What I mean is GM's not necessarily approving it. Is GM's not saying, yeah, let's get going and we'll pay for it. If there was a certain circumstance where somebody got GM to pay for it, kudos. But that's not going to be the widespread plan from GM. GM wants to do all of this in-house. Obviously, it saves them money, right? And two, if somebody out there found a better way to do this and was getting it right and GM wasn't, it'd look really bad. So they can improve their part. And so I just really look at it like it really comes down to probably where you're at your warranty. If you do this preemptively before your 100,000 yourself, I would be a little bit hesitant to do it before I checked with your local dealer and find out that's going to void your transmission warranty. Because although this kit might be awesome and you think this is the fix and you miss one little step in the install, I'm not for sure. My experience with dealers is they're always looking to find a way to get out of the warranty work if they could, especially if it's a close call between GM covering it and then the dealer having to get money out of you later because it's not covered. I'm not saying the dealers are being shady. I'm just saying they want to get paid either way. And when you bring in these weird circumstances like this, it's just something to think about. So at the end of the day, kind of my idea on the Next Gen is give it a shot. if you can afford it, you think it's worth it, you're having issues, you're out of warranty, everything like this, out of warranty, much more than say 5,000 miles, and the transmission is going good, I personally wouldn't imagine spending any kind of money trying to cover the ass of a manufacturer. I would rather, if the truck's been good, transmission's been good, and it was covered on the recall and it doesn't develop, they will fix it later because it's a recall. They'll fix it later, and then you get an extended piece. So you could be outside of that mileage, and you might still get the part replaced for free and get an extended piece of that warranty. So a lot of little nuances here. Very exciting and neat company to look into is Nex Gen Drivetrain. Many others out there, businesses that are actually perfecting a lot of the imperfections when it comes to manufacturers. And it's exciting to see how passionate this person is, whoever the owner of this company is, trying to talk about it and trying to remedy it. And again, like I said, just to back with a warranty like that's exceptional. So hopefully that answers the people's questions, kind of what the recall entail. Now, like I said, we're further down the line. GM has their valve bodies coming out. So do I think that you're going to be waiting months and months and months to get one? No. Is the 25s covered under it? No. Could the GMs develop it? Sure, especially if you read the information that NextGen's put out. There is a potential there. When, how, I don't really know. But, I think at the end of the day, we have an outside remedy. We have a manufacturer remedy. We have more than just the software download. And you have a company out there that looks like they're working really hard to get a good product in your vehicle if you need it, keep you on the road. So it's kind of a win-win, I guess, at the end of the day. But for me, I'm not going to do it. I have no desire to do it. I think I'm going to be just fine. And we'll go from there. So I appreciate the viewer requesting this video. Again, I apologize for the late timing on it. But as always, guys, thanks for being here, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.